The federal government has recently identified the school-to-prison pipeline as one of the major problems facing our country. It is way too often that poor students, kids of color, children with disabilities, children who have been abused and neglected, come into schools, get in trouble, and get moved out of the classroom into segregated learning situations, which eventually lead them to become failures at school and too often ended in prison, certainly unable to learn and held back. The federal government has responded to this dilemma by creating a program called My Brother's Keeper, which is encouraging communities around the country to become more focused on the needs of particularly their male children in terms of their ability to stay engaged in school. This is a major significant issue, and for example, in California they predict the number of prison beds they will need in 20 years by the third grade reading scores. So we know throughout the country that unless we get children reading at third grade level efficiently and proficiently, and eighth grade math, they are unlikely to complete high school, and they're more likely to end up in prisons. What we do know is that all these children, poor, kids of color, kids with disabilities, kids who've been neglected, kids who've been abused, spend up to 8 hours a day in schools. So it seems to me that we have to be very explicit that the primary strategy we need to engage in order to make a significant change and disrupt the school-to-prison pipeline is by making sure that every classroom has a highly effective teacher who's prepared to teach kids of all different kinds and stripes. And we have to do that by engaging in a variety of different strategies. First and foremost, we have to raise the profile of what it means to be a teacher. We have to let people know that it's important to society, that it's valued by society, and that we as members of society understand that having a good teacher is exactly what every kid needs, and that's an honorable way to use one's skills and talents. We also have to put significant efforts into preparing high school students to become teachers. We prepare high school students to go into math and science. We prepare them to become athletes, we prepare them to become ballerinas, but we do not do this as much work as we need to do to help high school students understand how to become a teacher. Except there are several great programs around the country, Call Me Mister, coming out of Clemson in the South, Today's Students, Tomorrow's Teachers, coming out of the New York region, and then nationally a program, Future Educator of Americas, which really reach out in order to prepare kids to think about becoming teachers and going to college. We then have to raise the bar for schools of education and the type of their ability to prepare teachers who are camera ready as soon as they graduate. It's no longer sufficient for us to say it's okay for them to get a little bit of pedagogy, a little bit of clinical work, and let the districts do all the preparation. We must prepare people to be able to walk into a classroom day one, ready to teach our most challenging and needy kids. And then districts have to partner more strongly with their local schools of education to collaborate not only in the pre-service teaching, but also in supporting their development through the time. It takes 7 years to become a master of any subject, and so post-college, to really create great teachers, we have to work well consistently. And we have to raise the bar for becoming a teacher rather than lower it. Too often, people talk about the failures of education, saying, oh, we have to make it easier to become a teacher. I'm going to argue we have to make it harder. It demands time, attention, content knowledge, it demands clinical expertise. These take time to develop and nurture. But to create a great schools, we have to create great teaching cores, and it's by having a strong teaching core that we'll be able to break the school to prison pipeline.